Hello everyone, welcome to the next multi-item sorter V7. This is a system that I've been working on for the past couple weeks by mainly myself and some other people kind of helped along the way. But the main thing about this that's different from the other one is that it's been tested a lot more. It has way nicer logic than the last one. It's completely hopper locked. It has a completely rethought and new multi-item sorter, as well as a slightly different bulk and loader hull here, some logic for various things and whatnot, as well as better chunk loading that's actually spent some time on. So this is the world download that will be provided in the description, so you can see it's in a nice basalt delta biome with a bit of grass here, I guess. And it's a really kind of feature-packed storage. There's not like a furnace array or to say like all your peripherals. It is mainly just to say the basis of a storage. The only peripheral we have is a trash can, which is here. But yeah. And if you count logic as a peripheral or an input, then we also have that, as well as some barrels here to fill space. There is an exit, so you can come out the back here to get to all the wiring. You can fly around. And stackable sorter is fully hopper locked by Command Leo and some other people. But this is Leo's design with his hybrid loader, which is really nice because it fills up this chest with the items first. And then once it fills up to that chest, then this hopper, it'll then finish and go into the shulker. When the shulker's full, it'll get sent to shulker storage. We have that same accessible loader hull here for the bulk, and I chose this because it is fully hopper locked, and I was striving to get a fully hopper locked multi-item sorter, and that is what I've done. So yes, this is not a multi-item sorter, but this half of it is, and in that sense, it makes sense calling it a multi-item sorter. So as you can see, all the categories and like item assignment, if you will, is all done and tested, sorted, whatever. The blank slices here with just orange concrete, or there's nothing there. It's just empty for if something gets added in the future or you need to expand. But there's your main filters, like all your wood types, leaves, dirts, types of stuff like this, colorful stuff, food, natural blocks, all this stuff. Over here, there's just very classic bulk items. Again, you can change this around if you really want to. The unstackable sorter, all the unstackables get sorted here, but anything that doesn't get sorted just comes this here, and will just get sent in these chests. This is also fully hopper locked. This here unlocks the hoppers if you need to retrieve something from the back hoppers for some reason. And this is an indicator panel for the unstackable sorter. This is a logic board for the entire storage, pretty much. So I'll go over all these in detail, but basically you have a chunk loading status, bulk storage status, input status, a system pause status, and a stackable sorter status, and a multi-item sorter status, MIS input overloaded status, and a boxes of low in bulk or unstacked loopable sorter. That just means that the boxes that supply the box loaders are almost gone. You also have a buffer unlock here. What this does is it basically just unlocks two hoppers right here and right here so that items can flow into the input. So this is useful for, say, you go and you put something in the input and you go, oh, wait, no, I don't want to do that. You can take that out. Or you can selectively turn on the storage when you want to. So basically, if you turn that on, it will start doing its thing. And whatnot. Yeah, so most of this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. The input or MIS overloaded, what that means is that either the buffer here for the MIS, this is basically a system to keep it running at hopper speed. So basically, if you were to just run a hopper into a single chest, because the defragmenter here runs slightly slower than hopper speed, because it has to have a 40 game tick break in between item types in order for the MIS to reset, it causes a little bit of, say, backlash in here where you have items building up in this chest. If you were to just have a hopper going into the chest, it would backlog almost immediately. So that's why we have this little buffer here just to fill up the storage, to basically queue the items to get ready and sorted into MIS. You can see parts of the pause feature here. That is all the light blue circuit. The blue circuit is logic control. Red is hopper locking, obviously. This is magenta, it's just the input for the MIS defragmenter. And all the gray is just the sorting, gray and white, if you will. And the pink is hopper locking controllers. The input can also get overloaded if you, say, put in a ton of items and then a shulker box. What it will do is it will favor the shulker box over the items. So basically, if you put in what I just said, the shulker box will get placed down, and then it will actually lock this hopper here. I know it shows that it's locked, and it is because it's idle. This thing causes like no lag idle. 3.7 in a single player world, it was 0.98 over the course of like 24 hours. So it's a really lag efficient storage. But basically, if you have the shulker unloader running, it basically just locks this hopper here so that no items can go through, so only the shulker box gets unloaded. Now, what that means is basically if you have shulker being unloaded, items can back up into these two chests here, and if items start to back up into this chest, it will actually turn off the input. So stop it from sorting. That will alert you. There's a little line here that runs to this and tells you that it is overloaded. The other thing that could happen is when you pause the storage, it also interferes with that a little bit because it needs to lock this hopper, and so there's some logic down here built in to just negate that. There's a bunch of different logic gates in here that just control different circuits and whatnot of the actual like pausing features and blue logic gates and just stuff like that. The unstackable sorter status is pretty simple. You just take a status from locked hoppers. MIS status is pretty simple also. You just take it from hoppers. Input status is whenever the input is unlocked. So there's a series of pulse extenders that keep it unlocked while it's running. If they're on, that input will stay on. Yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about it. It's not that really complex of a system, but it is complex in the sense that it is fully hopper locked, and there's a bunch of logic that goes into keeping it fully hopper locked and controlling it. Now, in the description, I will provide a Google Drive folder. Very Lightmatic files, world downloads, anything for this, along with links to the Storage Tech Discord, Haze Tech Discord, and all that stuff if you need to reach us. And yeah, if you're feeling like you want to go check this system out and you don't want to listen to me explain everything about it, go ahead to the download it, paste it in your world, and mess around with it. If you'd like to see some more in-depth video, I am going to do that right now. Sick at the moment, so I have to keep coughing and muting myself, but the input is fairly self-explanatory, and to show that off, I'm going to put through a test box. So this is the test box I prepared. Pretty basic, just a couple items, and we will get to see all these items get sorted to their correct spot. So I will place it there, and see nothing's happening because the input is, the buffer is unlocked, or locked. If I do that, shulker gets put out. We will see a little bit of lag here. The input status will turn on. We will see that box get placed down right here and starts getting unloaded. Those items trickle through a stackable sorter and then to an item batcher by Rapscallion. Item batcher then goes to the bulk storage, where it then triggers hopper locking and whatnot. Then that item will get sent over here to the buffer, where the buffer will handle the items at hopper speed. We will see the MIS start to kick in action with the saplings here. We see all the torches turn on. The on torches replicate a slice that is trying to sort. Now we switch to redstone blocks. We would have already done a piece of armor, so we should be able to see leggings. Nice. That sapling should go to, I believe this chest was, I believe it's this one. We should see it right now, actually. Yep, there we go. It is sorting into that chest. The redstone block should go into this chest eventually. It might take a minute. We can actually see the pause in the items with the off torch. And you can see this thing sorting. Rapscaling House has a video on this. MIS, I will link that in the description as that's a bit more well made and thought through. As well, this video is, but just not as much as that one. So you can see the 26 redstone blocks. We should see 50 levers, so we're also going to get those 50 levers in there. We should have gotten shears, so we're going to check the shear chest over here. We have a shear. Did I? No, that's not there. Good. Let's see. Frog light. There's a bunch of various things in here that are just going to be messy. This thing does batch the items, just in case you wanted to increase the length of the bulk storage. You could just take it over here and make it bigger, longer, whatever. I mean, doesn't really matter. But there's just temporary item assignment here for what I thought people might want. But obviously, not everyone's going to want that. I'm going to do a tick warp here so that we can just see the lights and how everything finishes off. Okay, so go through, check, we'll see saplings, egg, all those. I'm just going to go through the chests and pull everything out that is there so that I can show that everything sorted correctly. Yep. Over here we should have some stone. Yes, dirt, yep. Powdered snow, we should see a bunch of stuff in here. Chest boat, flint and steel. That, got 2 more items. I believe that's going to be the command blocks, which were unsorted. And I'm missing definitely something. Ah, the bamboo. There we go. You can see that this matches exactly to the shulker box before. We also got that shulker box back here in the empty boxes chest. See, I unloaded it, all got sorted through, and now it's here. I will leave this shulker box here in the world download in case anyone wants to go through it and run it themselves. There's a tiny trash can here. This handles boxes of just like items. So if you just throw in a box or just throw in like, I don't know, 16 chests, turn that on, it will turn itself on. Oh, it's tick warping, so it already did that. Oops. There, let's try that again. That was my bad. And there you can see it starts handling all the boxes and items. It's also fully hopper locked. See the suit. Netherite items just get sent into the unstackable sorter. And if they're like swords or anything, they'll end up here along with netherite blocks. Oh yeah, there's also a shovel. That's what I was missing. Yeah. So I have ran a long test with this system with Hermitcraft boxes. By Hermitcraft boxes, I mean these boxes that I sold in Cubic, and it had no flaws that I could have seen. There might be something, so if you build this in your survival world, I'm not guaranteeing a flawless system, but for my testing, it is quite flawless, and there's very few points of failure, if any. One of which is, I'd say, probably the input, as the input has been tested the least out of all these systems, but the input is also very strong and sturdy, if you will. The chunk loading is a modified version of one that uses pumpkins and snow. I just removed the snow and it uses shulk boxes now, which means you can color code it, which joy. You have to do buffer boxes here and here in the nether as well. It is also set up. It was placed a little wonky in the overworld, so it's a little bit higher in the nether. But basically, you'd have to have your player portal at the same Y level, and then your chunk loader here. Obviously, you could probably manipulate that to put the chunk loader down here somewhere, and then have your player portal at the top of the bedrock or underneath it, whatever. But I'm sure you can figure that out, as you can see the link correctly. There's not too much else I have to say about the system. There's many things that are just like little edge cases. And actually here, well, I can show one of those. If we throw in 2 stacks of just redstone blocks, turn the input on, I'm going to tick warp here a little bit, and then we're going to pause the system immediately once it starts. There we go, so it's paused. So now everything's going to turn off, you see. And up here in our buffer, we should get 47 blocks, nothing even in there yet. And if we were to say turn it off, then click it back on again, we're going to see that it's going to shut off eventually. The MAS takes a little bit longer to shut off as there's a little timer that keeps it on. But there you go. And you see that it's safely shut down and didn't sort the rest of those redstone blocks. So there's 35, there's 8 in there. If I were to unpause it, I'm going to see everything kicks back on to action. And we get those 2 stacks of redstone blocks back. And shortly after, it will shut off. And done. That is it. So you can see how the pause feature works. That's pretty self-explanatory. If you're just doing something and you want to pause the storage, the pause also comes up here and locks this hopper, so you can't input anything into the storage. Or it's very versatile in my testing. So, like, there's a bunch of logic down here. Just like turn off this and turn off this and turn off, restart the locking. And up here, you have to restart the locking or the unlocking, pardon, for the buffer. So basically, if you pause it, it's going to turn off the buffer, lock it, but that's only if, like, after the items have flown through, and then it will also pause it again, and it will recharge it to pause it or unpause itself, basically, to unlock all these hoppers again and let them flow through back through the MIS. That's also very important. This here is to basically, if you still have items circling around in the buffer, and then you try to pause it, so basically if the MIS is overloaded and you try to pause it, this will basically refrain you from pausing the actual MIS, and it won't be able to pause until at least some of the items have stopped circling through, which is very important, actually. And yeah, there are some ugly hopper lines, but I tried to cover them with hopper logging and composters. There's only a few hoppers that don't have anything on top of them. One of them is, I believe, yeah, right here and over here, but they are locked unless it's running. Sorry. Another thing to note: the input, it will break the box if you actually like surpass signal strength 6. So there you go. You saw it get broken, and it ends up here. But you can also just put in one item and then break it, like so. It is precision, so there's a hopper directly underneath it that just gets unlocked through the system. This input has actually had quite a bit of work done on it, so it is actually fairly reliable from the testing. This here, butting the piston, is not a problem, as it really would never come into play, as it's not even a problem having that, because it's not a problem having that at all. I'm just noticing that now, and that's not a problem. And even if it was, it probably wouldn't even get buttered. or unbutted, I should say. All the item assignment is done. It was by, I believe, JayRoi from Sword Check Discord. It was a modified one by Walter. Um, but it's fairly nice, I think. There's a lot of versatility to it. You can change a lot of stuff around. I changed a lot of stuff around. You can obviously change the filters yourself. I am not going to leave a separate Ligmatic for one that does not have items assigned, as you can do that yourself. It's not that hard to go through these filters and just fill them out. Just 41 of the item you want to sort, and then fill items. Same for the MIS. Just make sure that you have this chest, one of blockers for basically the entire chest if you're not sorting anything, and then 2 of the item you want to sort to this category, like this. You can see all the flight duration rockets have 2 instead of, say, 1. If it only had 1, it would break. Don't put 1. If you notice that it starts to go down to 1 after running it for a while and maybe it looks like this, you need to spend some time and fix it, or go to the Sword Check Discord and help, or and ask for help, because that's not supposed to happen. Same with every other chest here, obviously. Just be careful with that. Also, the hopper underneath the chest needs to have 19 items and then 3 items. Same with this hopper here, 19 and then 3. And that's basically the filters here for the MIS. There is 1 inventory here. Another note, there's 2 separate, basically, sorters to just sort out filter items. So it sorts out snow filters as well as snow blockers, so that they don't get into the system, break it. If these do tend to fill up, you're fucked. It will start to backlog these filters, and then all these will get messed up. And then if you, for some reason, leave it long enough and let all this back up, then it will eventually start going into MIS. But it's so rare that that would happen. Just don't input shulkers of your filter item if you have that for some reason. You should be fine. The unstackable sorter is well tested. It's very reliable. This clock is from Pyra. So literally everything in here is locked. There was a lot of development in this recently that was very complicated to do, but it's actually really nice. And this is, again, directly from Command-Blio, so it's reliable-ish enough. I shouldn't say ish, it is reliable. And there isn't really too much I'd change about it in any aspect right now. The only thing I would change about it is moving the bulk to be part of an MIS, but Jay already did that. I'll leave a link to his video. His basically had an MIS on the top and then an accessible or hybrid loader on the bottom. And it was a really nice and clean system. JayRoi did a really good job with that. It's been through a lot of testing, and that's also a very popular MIS video on YouTube, I'd say. It also takes advantage of Moony's Miss 5 V5, sorry, and is pretty damn reliable to what we've tested so far. Another thing is there's drop evaders in here that I've designed. They are not tested for long periods of time, but they have handled random input and just stuff like that. So it just self-clocks itself. It's pretty simple, but it's nothing crazy. We also use it over here. It's actually a really nice system, so you can just chuck in something and then there we can see the overflow working, so it'll just carry through this water line. Get sent here, unlock it, and then get sent here. I want to burn that. And yeah, I don't know if I have too much else to say about the system. I recorded this video about 5 times to get it, well enough. Still nothing's perfect, but I think this is to a really good point where I'm going to release it. There will be updates in the description. I'll make sure if I change something, I will leave a note and tell you which schematic to download. I'll probably end up updating the Google Drive as I update the Ligmatic. So say there's a change, I will update the Ligmatic in the Google Drive immediately. And yeah. But yeah, that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. And yeah, check out the storage.